I've been talking about this theory a lot recently, but I've realized that I never actually made a video talking about it and breaking it down. So today, I'm going to explain to you why I believe that Yama's mother is a Red Witch, thereby making Yama a Red Witch. You gotta hear me out. We know that Yama, Doom, and Paul each have a different mother. The line translation doesn't do a good job at explaining this because it makes it sound like Yama and Paul have the same mother, but the real translation, I've looked into it, is that each of them had a different mother, but that Yama and Paul's separate mothers were not canines. But the strange part about this is that Yasracha and Doom, when they talk about what happened with Yama's mother, they specifically talk about the fact that Lopobia Traumarai, the Lopobia family head, specifically wanted Yama's mother to be someone with a, quote, special power. They specifically say she had a special power. And this has always stuck out to me. Like, what special power would this be, right? Now, I'm not saying the only special power is a Red Witch, but you gotta admit, Yama's got some red hair, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but Red Witches also have red hair. Boom! Theory confirmed! I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I do have a couple other little connections here. Now, if Yama's mother had red hair, I think this would be a big step. We don't have many other characters in Tower of God that have red hair, as far as I know. Like, obviously, So-Oh and I and Huariyun, they're Red Witches, like, that's different. But, like, outside of Red Witches, only a couple of, like, minor characters, you know, like Quattro, some people from the first floor. Like, it's not a very common hair color, especially the shade of red that both Yama and Huariyun have. I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but it's a similar shade. It's not like a dark red, it's not anything like that, like from other characters in the series. It's a similar shade of red. So if we could confirm that Yama got his red hair from his mother, I don't know, it's not confirming anything, but it definitely would lead us in the right direction. Yama's father obviously doesn't have red hair. His hair coloring is closer to Doom's hair color, I would say. I mean, even that, it's not exactly the same, but like that, something like that, you know? And so, I don't know, it's kind of obvious that the son probably got his hair from his mother, right? Yama getting red hair out of nowhere just doesn't really make sense. But also, if you take the image that we do have of a shadowed mother and father of Yama, and you turn up the brightness, she clearly has red hair. I mean, clearly, especially if you compare it to his father, she's got that red hair. So Yama's mother confirmed has red hair, at least in my opinion, right? Everything leads to that conclusion. And she confirmed has a special power. Now, the other strange thing is, she has a special power, and Traumarai wanted Yama's father and this woman to have a child, right? And he basically bred them. It's horrible, but like that's essentially what he did. But like, why? What was his goal? Like, this power must have been something truly special, because here's the thing. Doom is the only one who can turn people into canines, control the canines, and do all that stuff. And Traumarai knew this, right? Like, he knew that the only person who could do that is a full-blooded canine, aka Yama's father and Doom. So his goal was something else entirely, and it had to do with this special power. So he wanted to create something special, a canine with a woman with that special power. Like, I'm trying to put those pieces together, and nothing really makes sense to me. Like, was he trying to create just a really powerful warrior, you know? Or was he trying to create something that utilized this special power that has been researched for so long, but no one has come to any conclusions? We know that even Gustang has studied guides and Red Witches and Silver Dwarves, I assume, right? But even he doesn't really understand how that all functions. There's no explanation behind it. Now, you can't tell me also that Red Witches just kind of existed. Now, there's a whole theory that I have, you can click the card here, about Enryu being the source of the Red Witches and all that. I'm not the only one with that theory, but I did talk about it. And it just leads me to believe that if that happened so long ago, are you telling me that no more Red Witches were ever created since then? Like, how are Red Witches, how do they currently still exist? Like, I highly doubt Huariyun is as old as Enryu, and So-Oh is as old as Enryu, and they saw Enryu. No, I just assume that the first Red Witches did, and that's how they were created, but then they had to procreate to continue on the Red Witch race. But then how, right? I assume it just happens like normal, you know? And that Red Witches, there's probably some Red Witches that left the village, maybe they were used politically in some scheme, like with the Lopobia family. I see it happening, you know? I see a side plot happening where a Red Witch was used, and a Red Witch had this power that people wanted. It's a tragic and terrible thing, but like, it makes sense. There's this unique power that only belongs to this race of red-haired people. And it makes sense that people would want to abuse that and use that. We haven't seen any particular showcase from Yama that he has this like Red Witch power, but he did inherit the Fang from his father, and Doom even says probably because of this entire scenario that Yama was put through. Like, Yama was a special child, a special and unique son of the Bay Lord, a father. So it makes sense that, okay, maybe that was the goal all along. Maybe they wanted someone who could inherit the Fang from his father, or maybe that wasn't planned, but either way, we do know that it was partially a success. Yama became the strongest son. I don't know how this plotline would be revealed in the story, but Hwaryun and So-Oh are there. Like, they're active at the nest in different ways, in various ways. So, I don't know, it just seems like it adds up a little bit too well. Dude, I just get so stuck on the fact that Yama had a red-haired mother with a special power. But I guess ultimately it depends, I just think if you look at the Red Witches and you look at their history, it just doesn't really make sense that no one would want to use that. And it also doesn't make sense to me that no Red Witch ever has had a child, Or it's like, oh, Red Witches only have Red Witch children. It's like, what? Okay, what happened to the other Red Witch children, The boys, what happened to the boys? Because obviously, Silver Dwarves are all male and Red Witches are all female from what I understand. So it's like, okay, what's going on here? I feel like there's a lot of unanswered questions, so I want to see if Yama could be one of those missing links. It may still seem like a bit of a stretch, but at this point, it's kind of all we have. Ultimately, we'll have to wait and see, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do leave a comment and a like if you did enjoy. This Friday, Towers and Gods episode 10 goes live. We're sort of nearing the conclusion of the regular classes that are a part of the positions test and nearing the end, nearing that final test, and of course the assassination mystery is still completely up in the air, so join us if you want to find out what happens. The link is down below. And with that being said, I will see you in my next Tower of God theory video. Take care.